These are the top 10 quarterbacks in fantasy football this year. If you want to win your league, listen up because I'm taking Dak Prescott at number 10. He's got a top 12 offensive line and 2 top 20 receivers, including George Pickens, who absolutely broke out last year, finishing as a top 5 wide receiver. And that's not even mentioning CeeDee Lamb dealt with a huge injury last season and was really not himself for most of that. If he comes back to peak form in this one, it's going to be over. Also, the Cowboys are clearly not a top 5 team, meaning they will be playing from behind in a lot of these games, which is exactly what you want to look for in your fantasy quarterback, because that means they'll be put in a lot of comeback scenarios where they need to pass the ball. And that's not to mention, I told you guys to take Dak last year and he ended as the quarterback 5. Do not fade him again this time. But at number 9, I'm taking Justin Herbert, and his 13 interceptions and 54 sacks, which led the league last year, was completely misleading because his offensive line was crushed with injuries. Later, an alt going out was not at all projected, and that should not happen again this year. And he's got a bonus additional weapon on the outside in Quentin Johnson, who blossomed into a top 30 wide receiver last year. Who saw that coming? The bottom line is the arm talent is never the problem with Justin Herbert, and he does have a decent amount of upside, but I think of him more as a high floor, low ceiling type of pick. And I'm taking Trevor Lawrence at number 8, and if you are surprised by this, you just did not pay attention last year. Lawrence finished with over 4,000 yards and 29 touchdowns, not to mention 9 touchdowns on the ground, which beats almost everyone on this entire list. He was a monster last year. Additionally, he finished the regular season in 2025 hotter than nearly every other quarterback. In the last 7 games, he was averaging 27 fantasy points per game. That's nutty. Real quick, if you want to win your fantasy league this year, drop a follow because I'm posting daily fantasy content to help you crush it. But at number 7, I'm taking Caleb Williams. He finished as a top 6 quarterback last year, and his offensive line makes it so that he is genuinely one of the safest quarterbacks on this list. The only real concern for him is that Chicago just traded away DJ Moore, who was by far and away Williams' number 1 target, but it should be alright because he still has Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, and Colston Loveland, who quietly broke out last year as a rookie. But I'm taking Jalen Hurts at number 6, and this might surprise some of you guys, maybe thinking he's too low, but honestly, if you look at the stats, it makes sense. His rushing numbers dropped to the lowest of his career as a starter last year with only 100 carries and 400 yards, which is still very solid, but by Hurts' metrics, this is not going to cut it. And this is because Jalen Hurts' fantasy value is basically only his run game. He does not provide too much in the passing game, and if he's not getting that running game going as strongly as he did in the last couple of years, he's not a very solid pick. On top of that, AJ Brown is now a New England Patriot, meaning he just lost his number 1 wide receiver. And yeah, we know he still has Smith and Goddard out there, which is very solid, and the Eagles are still an elite team. That's why he's top 6, but I would not take him any higher than that. But I wrote up the entire list 1 through 10 with detailed pros and cons for each fantasy quarterback. Comment the word QB below and I'll send it right over.